Nothing instills fear like a man holding a cute little wand. Margaret quickly took down his pants and pushed 2 or 3 ice cubes up his ass. One of them even had the date November 31st. Now that I've given you an extreme oversimplification of the history of the Philippines, let's get into the vampire stuff. It's time to read a chapter from the book of dark things the American government has done. This is the story of the death and subsequent coffin robbery of Graham Parsons in 1973. Unfortunately, the peanut butter and jelly in question comes with a glass of deeply depressing milk. If only we could all be as brave as the Mr. and Mrs. Salmons of Taiwan. It seems the cargo manager didn't think there was anything suspicious about a guy named Jeremy Nobody dressed as a cowboy with a rundown hearse collecting a dead body at the last minute to ship it privately. But one man's unnecessary paperwork is another man's free sushi. Having a little bit of weed is about on par with arming numerous wars. Good, I will be euthanized. Such as this time that the leaders of both countries met there and held hands for some reason. Part of that code basically said Graham's stepdad Bob would be able to inherit his stepson's estate if he could prove that Graham was a resident of Louisiana. I guess even funeral parlors can have a Wild West theme. After all, they were humble small towners, and this was really more of a big city crime. Seems like the decision of a rational and totally normal country. And honestly, if you can't trust the people you meet in a Russian prison, how can you trust anyone? Well, Bob was a resident of Louisiana, and Louisiana's laws are heavily inspired by the Napoleonic Code. At that point, it sounds like owning the club was simply a means for him to assault random people on the street. So you can listen to the audio of my videos and lull yourself to sleep with my comforting voice. So just like that, 45 grown men began punching each other over a tree. Starting to think North Korea might not be a very progressive country. Which is a fitting number, since she's basically the Jackie Robinson of getting detained in Russia for the possession of cannabis oil. So the cowboy coffin stealers escaped justice yet again, and Bob was looking to enjoy that sweet citrus cash. So what the hell does this have to do with his body? As part of their sinless community, everyone was basically allowed to have sex with whoever they wanted. And I know this prison is designed to be cruel and dehumanizing, but I think they went a little too far by feeding the inmates British food. But considering provocation to them includes some mild gardening, which is only one step away from making them all wear a plaid red shirt and a fake beard. Now that you've hopefully survived the part of the video where I talk about Napoleonic estate law without shooting yourself in the head, let's get to the coffin stealing. Had sex with more murderers than anyone else in show business. Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal. You sock-dologizing old man trap. Media named the whole thing Salmon Chaos. One man who changed his name to Explosive Good-Looking Salmon. And if you're not American and you're wondering why we have a folk hero who's a giant lumberjack, the next 2 days the US military planned the most intense tree cutting of all time. After turning a coffin into a fireball in the middle of the California desert, the men immediately fled the scene. Anyway, the incident I'm here to talk about was caused by a tree. He then decided that the best thing to accompany the tequila, besides a slice of lime of course, was some morphine. Governor John Connally was also wounded, but recovered from his injuries and thankfully did not go on to kill his wife in Germany. I guess vampires don't work on the Viet Cong. It's extremely convenient because it saves me from having to say hook balahop for the rest of this video. Ugly widows are on their own. Sorry to interrupt, but could I trouble you for a ginger ale when you have a chance? On December 5th, 2014, a flight operated by Korean Air was set to fly from New York City to Seoul, South Korea. But before it could even get off the ground, several people's lives were permanently altered by a bag of nuts. Or at least as much of a success as you can have when 2 people are killed and you're trying to prevent a war from starting over a tree. I guess his wife told him to get back to what keeps the food on the table, killing people for money. And that's exactly what he did. I guess the song wasn't called Peanut Butter and High Definition Cameras. Taiwan actually has a whole government document surrounding the legality of changing your name called the Name Act. No, he wasn't desperate for the royalty checks of the Flying Burrito Brothers. The Flying Burrito Brothers. And like many people who enjoy drugs, he had a deep love for Joshua Tree National Park. Unfortunately for Brittany, she had chosen the absolute worst possible time to accidentally bring weed into Russia. As you know, I always take care of you guys, even when you're sleeping. Meaning Leon was so disgruntled about the state of the economy that he was going to kill the guy who fixed it. Lieutenant Bulldog removed his watch, carefully wrapped it in a handkerchief, and put it in his pocket before yelling, "Kill the bastards."